Is your website costing you clients in 2025? As we step into the new year, your online home could really be your greatest asset or your biggest liability. Today, I want to chat with you about the 13 updates you can do now, and then also talk about some emerging trends for the new year that really will determine whether your website attracts or repels your potential clients. So let's get into it. Hey, friend, welcome back to the podcast. I'm so happy to have you here. And I'm excited to chat as we wrap up this 2024 year and look forward to the new year and new goals. This is one of my favorite topics to chat about. I really love sharing ways for you to uplevel the website that you have. And as we look towards the new year, it's a great time to give your website that little boost and refresh to make sure that it is all set to go for the new year. I thought I wanted to start with sharing some interesting statistics from 2024 from a recent Forbes article that I will link below in the notes. And these are things that I talk about all the time, but I think that actually seeing it in black and white kind of gives it a whole new perspective. The first one I want to share with you is that users form an opinion about a website in about 0.05 seconds. That is so fast. And what this really means is that first impressions matter and they matter a lot. And your website really needs to be designed to make a strong impact in a very short amount of time. A well-designed website is easy to navigate and it really provides that emotional connection and that user experience. And that is the only way that you can create community and retain your visitors and potentially convert them into clients. Another fact that's interesting is that 47% of users won't wait longer than 2 seconds for a website to load. If your website takes longer than 2 seconds for it to load, someone's going to leave and you are going to miss the sale. So having a zippy, speedy website that actually loads quickly is super important. And when someone gets on your website users spend an average of 5.59 seconds looking at your written content on a website. That means reading through your website. That's how long you really have to engage your visitors and really make that emotional connection and effectively communicate your message. But what's really interesting is that if you add video to your website, the average time spent on pages with video is 6 minutes. That's over 6 times increase versus not having video on your website. And here's the last one. 61% of people say that if they don't find what they're looking for within 5 seconds of landing on your website, they'll go somewhere else. That means you have to know exactly who you're speaking to and you are telling them how you can help them and what they need to do to actually work with you. It needs to be clear and easy. There are a bunch more, and I'll list the link below. It's really fascinating to read. But today, I want to talk a little bit about your website, specifically during this period of time as we look towards 2025, and what you can do now to boost its performance for the upcoming year. And I've actually created a resource for you. I've linked it down below, and you can get the accompanying checklist so you can add it to your Google Drive and go through the checklist as I am sharing all this information so that you too can look at your website and know exactly what you need to do. And you don't have to furiously take notes as you listen to this episode because I'm going to talk a lot about so many different things. So super easy, free resource linked down below. And then you can look at your website and make these changes on your own timeline. The first thing I want you to do is think back over 2024. I want you to think about the clients that you worked with, the projects that you worked on, and what really lit you up and what didn't go as planned. I really like to reflect, and I do this as well. And when you do this, you really get to refine your ideal client. And once you have that ideal client in mind, you can adjust your website accordingly. The second thing you'll want to do is look forward to 2025. What are your goals for the first half of 2025? Do you have a specific event that you're working on, a specific offering that you really want to focus on? What is it that you want to have happen in the first part of 2025? Because your website needs to align with these goals. And once you've done those two exercises, then I think that it is time to really dive into a content refresh of your website. Because remember, your website tells your story and it is what makes sales for you. And we want to make sure that it really reflects your brand, your personality, and your current goals. And a little bonus, every time you do update your content, it gives Google a little nudge and it helps boost your SEO. I want to walk through each of your main pages, your home, about, services, contact, and I'll just share one top tip for each. And as I go through this, I want you to just keep in mind that we are aiming for clear over clever. We want to avoid adding, and we always want to make sure that we are making things more concise. And if anything else, we're removing and focusing on only what your potential client really needs to know. So let's talk about your 5 pages. On your home page, and I shared it in the statistics, you have 0.05 seconds to get this attention. And what you need to do in order to get their attention is above the fold, which means that you don't scroll down the page at all. It needs to answer these 3 questions: what you sell, why it matters, as in how it's going to help your potential clients make their life better, and how they can do business with you, what to do next, your call to action. Clear over clever always wins. You want to avoid that jargon and words people can't understand, and you want visitors to immediately know that they are in the right place. I'm a website designer. When you land on my website, my hero says, a website that's as high performing as it is gorgeous. Yes, please. Stylish, strategic websites designed to make you money. And there's a button, tell me more. It is clear that I design websites that make you money. That's how I'm going to help your life. And there's a button, a call to action, tell me more, so that I can learn about it. So look at your homepage and your landing. Is it clear? And are you telling people what to do and how to take the next step with you? The next page you can look at is your about page. And actually, you probably have learned, if you listened to me for a little bit, that the about page is one of the most highly visited pages on your website. And there are many ways to approach this page. It can be, buttoned up and more professional, or really let your personality shine through with some Q&As and fun little tidbits about you. But however you want to approach it, I think one of the most important pieces of this are the photos on your about page. You need to show at least one photo of you as the owner of your business, or if you have a team, of your team. And you need to be looking straight into the camera and smiling. You want to make sure that your visitors are looking right into your eye so that they can connect with you and build that emotional connection. Pictures are really what connect us to others through the computer. Pictures and video. I highly suggest you invest in some professional brand photos for this coming year. If it's been a while, maybe think about doing a refresh. But make sure that on this about page, there is at least one photo of you as the business owner looking at the camera and sharing a little bit more about why you have the business that you have. On the services page, this really is your sales page. And I want you to keep in mind, you want to share what is it that you do and what it does for the client. Focus on what it does for them, not just what it is. Focus on the benefits, not the features. The benefits of working with someone like me is that you're no longer embarrassed to share your website. You know that when you send someone to your website, it's going to do the hard work and that it's going to work for you around the clock while you sleep, and it's going to make you money. Those are the benefits that you'll receive when you work with me. The features that I'm giving you is a 5-page website, home, about, services, contact, and a blog, and perhaps I'm integrating your email marketing list. Those are the features. But that's not really what you need to know. You need to know the benefits. Look at your services page and make sure it's the benefits focused and not the featured focused. And what I think is the most important for this year, and I said it before, I think you need to include your pricing. And there's a big debate. Should you include your pricing? Should you not? I firmly believe that you should. Everyone's time is valuable. Your time is valuable and your potential client's time is valuable. And when you don't list your pricing, people don't know if it is going to be expensive or it's going to be an investment that they can make. And more times than not, if you don't list your pricing, someone will worry that it's not going to be the right fit and they'll just leave and find someone else. I believe that you need to decide with intention how you want to present your pricing, be it an exact price, maybe it's a range, maybe it is a starting price. However you want to approach it, I think it's really important to give your potential clients an idea of what the investment will be for working with you. That is transparency for 2025, and it's valuing everyone's time. And I think it's just a really important piece of the puzzle. And it goes to sharing your unique personality and being transparent and trustworthy and honest online. because I feel as though we are getting more and more savvy and more critical about online businesses. And so being trustworthy and transparent is super important. Think about what you're going to do with intention about including your pricing on this page. And then finally, on the contact page, your contact form is typically the next step in the process when someone really is serious about working with you. A lot of times for service providers, someone is booking a call with you or filling out a form, and this is the page that it all happens. I want you to think about the fields that you have on this page and make sure that it's only what is necessary. Make it as succinct as possible. You probably don't have to ask 10 questions on an inquiry form. I know you want to get more detail about your potential client, but if you just ask what you need to know to get that call booked, then when you're on that call, you can really dive deep. That's absolutely what I do. People want to have action happen and they want it to be as frictionless as possible. The fewer questions you have on that page is really important. And if you can, add a photo of yourself to this page as well. It really brings out that a personal connection, that emotional connection we want, and having a smiley photo of yourself or just looking straight into the camera really invites that person to take that last step in your process and actually fill out your form. Bonus tip, if you don't have your email address included anywhere on your website, make sure it's included on this contact page. Yes, we want to streamline everyone through the form, but if someone doesn't want to fill out that form, you don't want to turn them away. You want to make sure you have an email address for people to contact you directly. It allows for all types of inquiries, not those that just fit in your form fields. Those are my tips for the top pages on your website. Now I just want to share with you those 13 tips that you can do as part of your refresh. And here's a checklist that I like to do every year. The first one is think about your testimonials. Consider contacting a few of your past clients to ask for a testimonial to update your website with. And I mentioned earlier the statistic about having video, people stay on your website 6 times longer. Maybe try integrating some video testimonials onto your website. That will help people learn more about you and have that social proof, but also get them to stay on your website longer. The second thing is dates and numbers. Go through your website copy and look for those date and numbers. When I'm writing my copy or working with a copywriter to write for my website, we always try to avoid having those dates and numbers that you're going to have to update every year. But perhaps you do. Perhaps you include the number of team members you have or the clients that you work with. Don't forget to go and update those. As well, make sure you're updating that copyright date at the bottom of your website. That's so important as we go into the new year. For me, it's one of the first things that I look at. And if someone has a copyright date from like 2021, I think, oh, are they still in business? Are they still active? So make sure you update that. 3, test all your forms. Make sure they work properly. Are you receiving the correct auto response emails? And are they bringing people to the appropriate page after submission? And check those pages too that you're landing on. Number 4, check your pop-ups. Just go to an incognito browser and make sure that they appear correctly and that your opt-ins are working smoothly and everyone gets to where they need to go. Number 5, if you have your phone number listed, perhaps you use a service and it has a number, make sure that that number is still working. Just give it a call, make sure it still works. 6 is check your broken links. You can use a tool like brokenlinkchecker.com to find and fix any broken links you have on your site. This will help with the user experience as well as SEO. You can help get rid of some of those dead ends of those broken links and it will boost your search engine rankings. Number 7, we touched upon this in my contacts page. Make sure that you're simplifying that page and it's easy to get in touch with you. Simplify your form. What can you take away? And then add your email address if it's not there. Number 8, you want to remove anything obsolete. I know if you have a WordPress website, I do this all the time. I'm constantly adding pages, but then I don't actually finish them. Or I have some blog posts that I've started to create, but I didn't post them. Go through all those sections and then just delete the pages or blog posts that actually didn't have anything come from them. If you have any products that are outdated, make sure that you remove those. Number 9, review your tech stack. Check out all the software that you have integrated with your website and cancel anything you're not using. And if you can consolidate anything, then go ahead and do that. I consolidate my scheduling and my CRM. I use HoneyBook for my CRM, And they actually have a scheduler in there. Instead of adding an additional piece of scheduling software like Square or Calendly, I just use HoneyBook. I'm consolidating, I'm saving money, and it reduces my tech stack and all those things that I have to manage. Number 10, update your passwords if you haven't done it in a while. This is a great time to do it. And consider using a password manager like LastPass or OnePass. There are many out there so that you can have those really secure passwords and you have a place that can save them for you. Because if you're anything like me, I can't remember anything. So having a password manager is super important. Number 11, check your privacy policy. If you don't use a service like Termageddon, which is what I use on my website, Termageddon, it automatically updates the privacy policies as the laws change. But if you wrote your own privacy policy or had a lawyer write one, perhaps it's time to reach out and see if there have been any updates to the law and if you should update your privacy policy on your website. Number 12 is update the software that you're using. If you are on WordPress, you have plugins and WordPress versions and PHP kind of things that work in the background that do need to be updated. Make sure that you are on the most current versions of all of those things so that you can avoid security breaches and that there are no conflicts working behind the scenes on your website. It's a great time to go and update your software. And then finally, 13, if you are on WordPress, or if you're on anything else and there are backups being taken place, make sure you are logging into your hosting and checking on those backups and that they are being taken and that you know how to activate those in case of anything that goes wrong. And there you have it. That is the checklist of things that you should look at on your website as you go into 2025. Like I shared before, I have a free resource link down below, jennybdesigns.com/2025. You can grab that checklist and then you can go through your website on your own time. Now, I want to chat a little bit about the resolutions and things that I see that will be happening in the website world of 2025. The first trend that I see emerging in 2025, or essentially just carrying over to the new year, is really that minimalistic and user experience focused design. It's that simplicity and the clean aesthetics and that really intuitive user experience. I really try to reinforce this in all my designs with a lot of white space and simple color palettes, stream layouts. You want to make it visually appealing, emotionally connected, and user friendly. And this not only helps the people who are coming to your website, but it also helps with your search engine rankings because Google likes to see the same thing when it comes to your website. I did an episode, How to Get Google to Love Your Business and Send You Loads of Traffic with Claire Ransom, episode number 13, and I'll link that below. But we talk a lot about what Google likes, and it essentially is the same thing that a beautiful website likes and that your visitors want to see. And if you can align the two, then you will get the benefits from both of those different avenues. The second trend that I have been seeing, and look forward to seeing next year is that dark mode aesthetic. And you'll notice that it really is starting to pop up a lot more places. You'll see it across social media platforms. I know Google, Gmail has it when you can go to dark mode. And what it is it really enhances the visual appeal, and it also actually reduces your eye strain. So those websites adopting that dark mode, they really have that modern, sleek feel. And oftentimes it improves that readability, especially in the low light environments. And there are certain brands that this works really well for. And I do love to see a dark mode aesthetic done really, really well. It's visually appealing and kind of fun and different. The third thing that I think we're going to see this year is more interactivity. And what this means is more dynamic and immersive user experience. And this is something that I've been talking about a lot. In past years, I've talked a lot about a parallax effect, where your image stays still as you scroll the page, and it has that movement to it. I think we'll see a lot more elements for interactivity on these websites, such as, hover animations when you hover over something, a nice swipe feature, some kind of scrolling gestures, interactive tools, possibly some voice commands. When I'm thinking about my designs, I really like to have a modern and clean and simple aesthetic, but also like to include a few simple interactivity adjustments to the website. I really love having that parallax image or perhaps a horizontal scroll as you go down the page to have some words, have some movement. Or perhaps an image has a little bit of movement to it as you go down the page. Just things here and there to make it so that your website isn't so static and it has that kind of 3D ability to it. But you don't want to overwhelm anyone. The fourth thing that I think we'll see a lot of, and this has been on my list for, I think, since I started in 2020, is video. And video goes back to my earlier tip about the stats. People stay on your website 6 times longer when you have video. And video builds that emotional connection. I love integrating video on a website in both background experiences, so B-roll behind words or quotes, but as well as visuals that explain more about the business. I worked with Paige from Main Page Media, and she helped me create a video business card. You'll see it on my homepage, and it talks a little bit about why I love working with small business owners and helping them to make more money with their websites. And Paige joined me for an episode 43, 3 times your website engagement with these video content strategies, where you learn how you can integrate website into your video. I think that's a great resolution to have for 2025, either working with a professional such as Paige or working yourself to grab some B-roll and add it to the background, or staging some kind of interview or integrating video maybe on your FAQ or on your blog, but making sure that you include that on your website so that people are staying around longer and you are getting both the more interactivity and as well the SEO juice from people staying on your website longer. And finally, the last one is integrating noises and textures. And what is this? This is integrating textures that just like it sounds, and noises are very similar to texture. It adds that depth and that realism to these surfaces online. Having that grainy effect, it really increases that dimensionalism, or it makes that flat design feel a little bit more engaging. Incorporating these subtle textures here and there creates that more immersive experience, and it draws those users to your content. And it takes away from the traditional overly polished designs, and it adds that more richness to your overall aesthetic. So incorporating some textures and noises like gradients and things like that, maybe patterns in the background of different areas or behind your images, or maybe doing some layers over your images. Just something to add a little bit more oomph to your design, but while also keeping it really modern and simple and minimalistic. I like to marry the two, always keeping minimalistic first and then adding these little touches here and there can really enhance your website. To recap, those 5 trends that I see coming around in 2025 with web design is 1, minimalistic user experience focused design. 2 is that dark mode aesthetic. 3 is having some more interactivity. 4 is incorporating video. And 5 is integrating some noises and textures throughout your site. Those are 5 different ways that I think you can kind of up-level the website that you have with your design changes in the upcoming year. And there you have it. That is my checklist and things that you can do right now on your website to prepare for 2025. You can grab the free checklist, JennyBDesigns /2025. You could download that and go through it at your own pace. And if you feel as though perhaps you want a second set of eyes on your website, then a website design audit might be a really good way for you to get a little bit of help and know what to focus on for the upcoming year. I'll link some more information below if that's something that you're interested in working with me on. I love doing a website audit because it allows me to really take a deep dive into your website and analyze what's going on. Then you can make those changes yourself on your own timeline and when you are ready to make those. Thank you so much for listening, and I look forward to chatting with you next time.